Hey there, guys. This is Andrew Taranta, and I'm coming at you with another TRXC update. This is the preliminary 2020 year-end corporate update, and I just want to break it down, go over all the topics, go over all the things that were discussed. Looking at the stock recently, looking at its weekly charts, we're still feeling very bullish about this, and that's what's really important. So that's why I'm making the video, and there's a lot to kind of unwrap, so I'm excited. I can't wait to get right into it. Just full disclosure, I was expecting to make this video last night, but I've been having some issues with my recording software, and then there was a lot going on with just the world. A couple people in Viking outfits had decided to storm the Capitol building. And so I was just kind of watching C-SPAN, the news all night. So that was kind of what I was focusing on. And then, so now the video is just going to be a little bit later. But this was released the other day. So I definitely want to get this out as soon as possible so you can understand exactly what this means and why this is really important. And it's a really good function, actually, for me because it allows me to kind of go over the highlights of 2020 in a very crisp and clear manner. So, if we look at the recent highlights, and this was all pulled off of the report, just made a nice little presentation for you guys. So when we look at the first line here, and I have what's highlighted, the important information, we have the Senhan surgical system received its registration certificate by the Russian Medical Device Regulatory Agency. I'm not going to say that word, but you know what it is, allowing for its sale and utilization throughout the Russian Federation. Now, obviously, I'm going to highlight that because that's very interesting to me. That's very good for me. The Russian Federation is huge. Tons of hospitals, tons of people who need help. And I think that this company is in a great position to help out people in Russia. And I'm excited to see what hospitals they get themselves involved in. So the fact that they were able to get past the regulatory agency and start planning to do procedures and speak with the hospitals and get leases for their equipment. And I think that's going to be really fantastic. Now, when we look at the Southern Surgical Hospital, a hospital based in Louisiana, they've entered into agreement to lease and utilize the Senhan surgical system, which is, an absolutely fantastic thing. That just means more procedures to be done, more robots out there doing surgery. And then on top of that, it's leasing and utilizing, so it's also a sale, which means that the revenues have now increased. So every time something like that happens, understand that their revenues are increasing. So you see this in the news, TRXC in a new hospital, immediately think revenues just increased. Or at the very least, maybe have an increase from expectations, but they're at least getting revenue. Because I think increased, you might think increase from what, but we just know revenue is being generated. So that's very good. Now, when we look into the third line here, this is a very interesting one. I highlighted it. Highlighted the first three words. First pediatric cases, which were utilizing the Senhance, completed in October, representing the first time that the 3mm instruments were used in robotic pediatric surgery. I should have highlighted that as well, because that's really the thing I want you to take away from, is the fact that this is a robot doing work in a pediatric setup, in a pediatric forum, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And I think it's a great step in the right direction, especially because pediatric surgery has a far less risk tolerance. And just think about it. You wouldn't want to put your kid in any harm's way, right? So when we're choosing a surgery and someone says, hey, would you rather the human or the robot? And I say, oh, well, the robot has about a 99% chance of success, whereas the human has about a 93%. You're going to choose the robot. And it's that data, analytic, and time that's going to take to get to that 99%. It's going to take time, but once it's there, it's going to be cemented. And once it becomes culturalized, it's going to become profitable, and very, very profitable. So it's a great place to get involved. Now, going forward, and the fact that obviously it's the first pediatric cases with this company is absolutely fantastic, because we're beyond thrilled to hear about that, because we now know that it's not as risky, and we know that there's success and people aren't freaked out about it. so much so that they're willing to, their kid, don't you think there was another option? There probably was, but they chose this one. And that's very, very good sign for this company. And I believe that was in Hackensack, Meridian Health in New Jersey. That's where the hospital was, in case you ever need it. Now, the first surgical procedures were successfully completed using the ISU. Now, this was leveraging the augmented intelligence and machine vision capabilities on the Senhance surgical system, which is absolutely fantastic. I highlighted first surgical procedures because it's building a good foundation. That's what we're really looking at. The first pediatric cases, first surgical procedures. Where all we're doing right now is building a fantastic foundation going into the future. And when I see that the procedures were completed, I also see that this is a brand new item. This is something that wasn't part of the Senhance surgical system before. This is including augmented intelligence and vision machine capabilities, which I think is a huge step up from where they were before and why they might have been sold when they were at about $80 a share. In 2020, 10 Senhance systems were installed under operating leases, and 9 clinical programs were initiated, and over 1,450 procedures were performed globally. Now, what does that matter? What does that mean? Well, it means that, if you're not excited about that, I don't know, how that doesn't excite you. But, I also understand if you're a little bit like, hey, is 1,450, is that a lot? It's not too much. Think about how many procedures happen every day. And just think about in all the hospitals in all the world, how many procedures, probably countless. So it's not a lot. But that's not a problem. Because what's important is that procedures are getting done, right? And what's important is that there's still a good amount based off of just 10 systems. In just 10 systems, and just 9 clinical programs, over 1,450 procedures were performed. So when we think of one system, we could imagine something along the lines of 145 surgeries to be done off of that in 1 year. So that's fantastic, to know that you're investing in something that is being used to help people, and every time that they have enough money to, or improve their product, or whenever they get a sale essentially, or a hospital that's willing to pay for their product, that that money is going to helping people, and that money is going to getting people well, which I think is such a wonderful place to be. So yeah, it's a wonderful feeling to have that when you're investing. At around December 31st, 2020, the company had approximately $17.5 million in cash. Obviously highlighted the important number there, 17.5. And cash equivalents, restricted cash. The company currently expects to have cash to support operations into the third quarter of 2021, which is absolutely fantastic news. And going into the next slide, we're going to kind of see as to why $17.5 million in cash is fantastic. Is because the fourth quarter revenue is expected to be approximately $1.1 million, whereas the full 2020 revenue is expected to be approximately $3 to $3.2 million. Now, let's take a look at these numbers real fast, because these are very, very good numbers. What we see here is we have about 1.1 million, right? Now, with 1.1 million, okay, that's just the fourth quarter. Right? So for the full year 2020 revenue is expected to be about 3.0 to 3.2 million. Right? Now, let's say this fourth quarter, nothing changes, right? Nothing changes. Doesn't get better, doesn't get worse. Now, at 1.1 million, and we're expecting it to get better, by the way, with all of these new things being added, time, every single moment they have more time, they have more potential to make more money, time's on their side right now. With that being the case, And we know that they're getting, all this work. So we know that it's going to grow up, but let's just say it doesn't. Let's just say it stays exactly where it is, right? Maybe even a little bit less, right? There's just whatever. But let's say it's about 1 million, right? For just 1 million for the next quarter is going to be about 4 million, okay? Which is, we're going to be looking at a 25% increase over the last year in terms of revenue. If that's not something to get excited about, I don't know what else is. And that's a lowball estimate. That's the most, lowest, safest estimate I could give you is a 25% increase in revenue. Apple increases their revenue by 13% each year? This company is improving it by 25%. That's exciting. That's exciting stuff. And I think it's in a position where it's going to continue to do this. And I think we're going to see incredible things coming into the next earnings report. So get excited about that. All right. So looking at 2020 as a whole, we are pleased with the momentum generated across our organization during these challenging times. We continue to expand our global footprint with the new system installations and procedure volumes rebounded in the back half of the year across each of our geographies. I'm just going to read the whole thing through and then I'll go into the details of what it means. In addition, we had a number of regulatory and portfolio expansion milestones, including the induction of machine vision and, look at that, introduction, okay, of machine vision and augmented intelligence, which enable the promise of digital laparoscopy, which is absolutely fantastic. We built a great foundation in 2020, and we are planning to continue to execute our strategy in 2021, bringing transformative technology to surgeons, hospitals, and patients around the globe, which is obviously something I'm extremely excited about, given the climate of the medical field. And they do definitely need as much help as they possibly can get. So it feels good to be investing in a surgical company. And it looks as though this company is in a great position. I will go over some of the specifics of the statement. So the first sentence, I see momentum generated, and I couldn't agree more. I think that's a wonderful phrase to use to describe what's occurring or what has occurred over the last year, going over all of the highlights and everything so far. I think we can all definitely agree they've had one hell of a year. So momentum's a great word to use. And I think that another really good point to be brought up was the introduction of the machine vision and augmented intelligence with the ISU. And I think that creates a wonderful advantage because it's now a better robot. It's now a better system. And I think that's what some people aren't really realizing is they now have a better system. It's better, so their stock price should go up. It's better now. What they're selling is better. If Tesla comes out with a brand new car or something like that, or the Apple iPhone comes out with a brand new feature that everyone's going to need, people buy, the stock price goes up. So this is what's happening is that the system is getting better. It's getting improvement. And it also means that they're reinvesting in themselves. They're not just putting it in their pocket. They're ensuring that money goes towards improving their system, which could, be a good sign of a good moral foundation with this company, which is something you always want to find. And then on top of that is also a matter of, wow, I invested in something. Ask yourself this or talk to yourself about this. Like, I'm investing in something that is being used in helping people live, is being used in people who are very sick, and the money that is being used to improve the treatments in which they have to go through, which I think is a wonderful company to get invested in. So the fact that they're introducing it this year is fantastic, which means we don't even know the potential of it just yet. And then on top of that, the fact that they did build a great foundation in 2020, and they're planning to continue to execute the strategy in 2021, which is, fantastic. That's exactly what we want to hear. You want to hear, obviously, nothing was bad. There wasn't any oh, guys, I don't think it's going to work out too well this year, but hold on, or it wasn't anything like that. And I don't think they're misleading us. I mean, there's evidence of all of these things happening. And on top of that, we remember how many procedures were done this year. We know exactly, how many lives were affected by this technology. So I think this is something to get very, very excited about. And even though, maybe today, the trading day doesn't go so well, but I think you really need to stop looking at this on a day-to-day basis. And you really need to look at this as a long-term investment. And this is something that I'm going to do a lot of research on, and I'm going to keep you up to date with. So I do want to thank you for subscribing. I love when I get the new subscribers, and it motivates me to make more videos. And on top of that, I also enjoy the comments that you guys are leaving and the ability to kind of interact with you guys and get a good understanding as to what exactly you guys want to see, and exactly whether or not what you guys think. What do you guys think about the company, and what's your views or other stocks that you might be thinking are doing pretty well. So with that being said, thank you for stopping by. I will be posting as much as possible, nothing more than twice a day. But obviously there are times when it might be longer than a day, so I'm not sure about a schedule, but if I can aim for the evening about 5-6 o'clock, I think that would be a really wonderful time to be able to get a video out there for you guys. So you just get off of work, relax, watch a video about your stock. I think that sounds like a good idea. But yeah, have a great rest of your day, guys. Good evening, good morning, whichever the case may be. I will see you next time. All right, bye.